Hi guys, welcome to another Divi themed video. This is Jamie from System22 and web designer techtips.com. We've got a fun one for you today. We're using Divi 5 again. We've got some simple hover effects going on. We've got 3 people here. It's like a little team section. If we hover over it, some info is going to appear. And there's a little button. You can take them wherever you want. I've kept this fairly simple. You could have social media and stuff if you want to. And of course, you take the mouse off, it's going to disappear again. And we've got the same thing going on for this one and this one. No coding involved at all in this today. Really easy way to get your team sections interactive and looking great. So let's get started. I've got this page open over here. Let's just add a new row. I'm going to use a flex row with 3 columns in it. I'm going to start off by throwing a little call to action. You can use anything you like. Let's just get rid of this row up here. Perfect. Okay, so I've got a little call to action here. I kind of want their name up there where the title goes. So we'll put in their name. And perhaps just a tiny paragraph about them. Don't want too much info there. And if you want to add a call to action button, that'll turn up as soon as you put a link for a button in here. I'm going to use hashtag for a placeholder. And there's a button. You can style these things any way you like. I'm going to keep it fairly simple today by leaving it on the default and put in what you want your button to say here. Great. Now, as you saw before, what we really want is an image to be there first. Then when they hover over it, we want this to sort of pop up and appear. So we want to make this the shape we want it for our image behind. Now, there's another thing. While we're doing shape, we're going to be using spacing for that, bit of padding. Call to action module puts 40 pixels in there as default, which is a bit much to me. So let's go and do that. In the call to action, I'm going over to design and spacing. As you can see, there's the padding they put in there. I'm going to use a percentage rather than a pixel value to make it the shape I want. I'm going to hit 80. I'm going to use a percentage. And on the bottom, I'm going to have perhaps 20%. 20, and again, the percentage. Left and right, well, again, let's stick to percentage. Let's say 10%. See what that looks like. And do the other side also. I think that's going to work fine. Great, well, we're shaping up. We've got our name, bit of info, and a button here. What we really want to see, though, is the image behind this. I'm going to use this blue background. I'm going to change it to a black and use it for a bit of a mask when this comes in. In other words, it's going to darken down the image a bit so we can see the writing a bit clearer. To do that, if you watch any of my other videos, you know that background's always under content. So I'm going to go down to background. I'm going to change the blue by left clicking on it to a black. I'm going to take the opacity down to about 50%. Obviously adjust to taste. And you can increment up and down with these little arrows here if you need to fine tune. Okay, that looks better, but it's still fairly uninteresting. What I really wanted is the image behind this. Now, I'm not going to put it in the background of the actual module itself because we're going to be fading that in and out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the column it's sitting in. You can either hit the back arrow or it's column right there. I'm going to put the image in the background of the column. So let's go and find Bob Smith. I'm going over here to the third one, add background image. He looks like a Bob. We'll pop that one in. And we got that nice little image in the background there. Perfect. Now, while I'm in the column, I'm going to be wanting images in these 2 columns too. So let's just go back one. We're in the row. Under elements, we've got our 3 columns here. If we go into the second one, there's background. We'll throw our image in the second one. Let's perhaps have that young lady. And we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to go back one. And the third column, elements. Background. Third tab. And let's throw this happy chap. Great. Well, what I want to happen is I just want to see this nice image initially, and then when they hover over, we want to see this. Very easy to do. It's pretty much the same thing as it was in Divi 4. We're going to go into our call to action module here. We're going to use filters to do this today. If we just go over to design, I'm going to roll down to where it says filters down here. Roll down a bit more. There's one called opacity. I'm going to pull it all the way down. And as you can see, or as you can't see because it's disappeared, all the writing in the button are gone. Then when they hover over it, I want to bring it back. To do that, very easy, just go up here. Where's the little computer type icon? Left click, we'll go down to hover. We can set a state for hover. When they hover over it, we want to bring it all the way back. Now the time it takes to go from clear to all the way back when you hover over it is 300 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, just under a third of a second. If you want to slow it down for a bit of grace, you can do that over in advance. We should switch back to desktop mode to do this. I'll show you why. If I go to advanced now, down to transitions, you'll see it's all grayed out. We've got a little stop sign there. It's because we're in hover mode. We want to make sure we switch back to desktop mode. And that's really important when you're doing edits and things. And if you go into hover mode and do an edit, make sure you go back, because otherwise all the edits you do in hover mode will only appear in hover mode. So that's really important. Now, as you can see, as we're back in desktop, our timings come up here. There's the default 300 mils. Let's slow it down maybe 3/4 of a second for a bit of grace. And I'm going to use ease in, ease out for mine. That's my go-to with these sort of hover effects. Don't want any delay. Want it to happen as soon as their mouse goes over it. So if we do this now, it should actually happen. Perfect. Now that's all very well. That works great on desktop. But if they're looking at it on perhaps a tablet, it looks fine. It'll work fine. But we really want something there to tell them that they can hover over it and something is going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new little module over here. I'm going to use a little icon. Now you could use an eyeball or whatever you want. I think I'll use a mouse or a click or something like that. So click. I think that's what I used before. We'll make it the color we want over in design, icon. I want it to be white. But again, I want the opacity down to about 50%. I don't want it to be too in your face, if you like. And I want it to be a lot smaller. Let's try 20. Yeah, I think that's going to work fine. But we're going to have a little problem there. What's going to happen there if I hover over it? Our little dark bit is going to stop right here and not cover this bottom bit where we've got our icon. So for an easy fix, I'm going to absolute position our icon. So I'm going to go over to advanced, down to position. I'm going to change it from default to absolute. It should go up to the top left corner as it's done up there. You can see it in the top left corner if I take my mouse off. I'm going to have it bottom central. I want it a little bit off of the bottom there. So we can put some vertical offset in there. Let's try 20 pixels. I think that works about right. So that's what it's going to look like when we hover over it. I think that's going to work absolutely fine. Of course, we want some content over these. Couldn't be easier. We don't have to go through all that again. For convenience, I'm going to flip to wireframe view. Let's duplicate our call to action. Grab one of them, drag it across. Doesn't matter which one, they're identical at this stage. Of course, you want to go into the second one, change out the name and things. We'll do that in a moment. I'm going to do the same thing for the icon. Pull one across. Duplicate, pull one across. Perfect. Let's switch back now. As you can see, we've got that, but the content's going to be all the same. So you've got a young lady there and another young fella here. So if we click on this one, and we'll go in there with a nice, interesting name or whatever. Obviously, you'd have some real ones for yours. Let's change that one out. And exactly the same for this one. And we've got it. Let's make sure this is going to work on the front end. So we'll save draft. And we'll preview. And here we have it. And I guess we'll start from left to right. Here's Bob. And you click on his more info. Obviously, you want to put a link to wherever you want to take them. And you can add social media icons. You can make this as complex as you want. Take the mouse off and disappear. There's Jane. And over here, we've got Dave. Really easy to do. And to duplicate, if you've got several people, just duplicate the row. Go into the columns, switch out the info and the name. Really easy to do. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. Before I go, just want to say a word about Divi 5. There's a lot of discussion at the moment about whether to use it or not. that folks over at Divi say, yeah, it's fine to build new sites with. Personally, I've got a lot of clients on Divi site. I'm going to keep them all on Divi 4 for at least another few months till 5's out and the bugs have been corrected. If you want to start building your own personal sites with it, fine, but be aware, we are in the beta version still, so you're going to encounter a few issues. All these videos, you may think, well, what's the point of showing me how to do stuff? Well, hopefully you'll be ahead of the game when all the bugs are fixed and you'll know how to use all these nice features. But my advice really is don't use it for production sites, use it for testing sites, use it for personal sites. For my clients, I don't think they need the headache right now, and I certainly don't. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful platform. I'm so excited for when it's out fully. But until then, I will not be switching my clients over. So that's my opinion. You can do what you want, obviously, but I hope you enjoy the videos. So anyway, once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.